Hello, sports fans. It is Tuesday, May the 14th, the year 2013, and as usual, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Before we do our Major League Baseball State of the Union, let's go through some scores of note from last night. Let's start with the NHL playoffs. Let's start in Washington, D.C., where the New York Rangers hammer the Washington Capitals 5-0, and the Rangers take the series 4-3. What a tremendous job by the New York Rangers. They're down 2-0 in this series. They're down 3-2 in this series. They win back-to-back games on Sunday and Monday. They win Game 7 on the road. How about Lundqvist? Back-to-back shutouts. How good is the goalie for the Rangers, Lundqvist? Back-to-back shutouts with the pressure on, and the Rangers just laid it on Washington last night, 5-0. And I'll tell you, the Capitals have now a long history of coming up small in big games. The Capitals always seem to fall short. They have a history of blowing big leads. Ovechkin didn't score at all in this series. Terrible job by Washington blowing a 2-0 lead in the series and a 3-2 lead and losing Game 7 at home and getting shut out back-to-back games. Terrible job by Washington. But this is all about the New York Rangers. Gritty, gutty, what an effort by the Rangers, and Lundqvist, I cannot say it enough. How good is he? I mean, my goodness, he put the Rangers on his back the last two games. Back-to-back shutouts with the pressure on in must-win situations. So impressed by what the Rangers did. So impressed by Lundqvist. So tremendous job by the New York Rangers. They move on to round 2, where they will play the Boston Bruins, and the Bruins pulled one out of the fire last night. The Bruins are down to Toronto last night in Boston, 4-1 in the third period. Toronto is winning 4-2 with less than a minute and a half to go in the game. Boston scores 2 goals in the last minute and a half. Then Boston wins it in overtime. An improbable comeback by the Boston Bruins. And what a heartbreaking loss for Toronto. I don't know if you're a Maple Leaf fan, how you get over that. You must have woke up this morning when you're eating your Cheerios or your Wheaties, and you must have been sick this morning. What an awful way to lose a hockey game. Up 4-1 in the third period. Up 4-2 with a minute and a half to go in Game 7. You got to wrap that up. Boston comes storming back. What a tremendous job by the Bruins. And remember, the Bruins had to stay in Toronto the night before because they had trouble with their plane. So they had to fly and play on the same day. What a nice effort by Boston coming back. They were dead and buried. Tremendous comeback. So that now sets up the New York-Boston rivalry. Rangers and the Bruins. Bruins have home ice. Should be a tremendous series. Should be really great for the fans. I mean, they're in close proximity, these cities, to each other. Big rivalry in all sports, so Rangers-Bruins should be tremendous. So nice night last night in the NHL. Also last night, moving over to the NBA, the Miami Heat hammer the Chicago Bulls in Chicago, 88-65. I mean, now Miami is up 3-1. They've won 3 in a row. Chicago had 9 points in the third quarter. Let me say it again, 9 points in the third quarter. That's not going to get it done. Listen, this should come as no shock to anyone. To me, the shock of this series was that Chicago actually won a game. Listen, I like Chicago. I like what they've done, but come on. No Derrick Rose, Noah hurt, all sorts of guys banged up and sick. Heinrich, you're hurt. Dang's been sick. What do you expect from Chicago here? They're playing the best team in the NBA. Chicago had a tremendous win over Brooklyn. No Rose, who's their star. You can't expect them to beat the Heat. I mean, come on. I think they did a tremendous job just getting this far, just getting a game against the Heat. But it was all Miami last night. This series is close to being over. Miami up 3-1. Also last night, Memphis comes storming back in Memphis, beats Oklahoma City 103-97. Memphis now up 3-1. I said it yesterday. I've said it since the injury happened. Oklahoma City is not the same team without Westbrook. They're just not. And that's not big news. I mean, he's a star. He's one of the stars of the NBA. You take him off the team, you're going to be hurting. I mean, it's like you take Dwayne Wade off the Heat, they're going to be hurting. I mean, Kevin Durant can't do it all by himself. Memphis actually came storming back in this game. Oklahoma City controlled most of this game early, had a big lead. Memphis comes flying back, wins it. Now Memphis has a commanding 3-1 series lead as they go back to Oklahoma City for Game 5. Over to your Major League Baseball yesterday. Yankees and Cleveland split a doubleheader. Cleveland won the first game 1-0. Yankees won the second game 7-0, so they split there. St. Louis beat the Mets, no surprise there. Milwaukee beat Pittsburgh. I mean, Milwaukee has Pittsburgh's number no matter where they play. Pittsburgh, 3 errors, sloppy game for them. Detroit beat Houston. We know Houston's one of the worst teams in all of Major League Baseball. Cubs pounded Colorado at the friendly confines of Wrigley Field. Minnesota routed the Chicago White Sox. I don't like what I see at all from the White Sox this year. Atlanta beat Arizona. Jay Upton, number 13. 13 home runs for Jay Upton. Are you kidding me? I mean, he is going to have more home runs in May than he did all of last year. I mean, how impressive has Jay Upton been? 13 home runs. Tremendous job. Atlanta cruises over Arizona last night. Kansas City bombs the Angels. I'll tell you, the Angels cannot get out of their own way. You figure they're going to maybe start to put something together, and Kansas City lays it on them last night. Oakland beat Texas, so Oakland needed a win in the worst way. They got it against a good Texas ball club last night. And Washington beat the Dodgers. Harper gets hurt running into the wall. Doesn't look serious. They checked him for a concussion. No concussion. He got a little bloodied. Nothing serious, though. And the Dodgers, I'll tell you, Don Mattingly's in huge trouble. He is in huge trouble. The Dodgers look lifeless. They look like a dead carcass as Washington beat them last night at Dodger Stadium. So that's kind of where you are as far as your Major League Baseball scores. Let's do our Major League Baseball weekly State of the Union. Let's go through divisions, records, little synopsis of each team. Let's start in the National League. Let's start in the National League East. The Miami Marlins are in last place. They are 11-27. They were 1-5 last week. Listen, Miami, I just read an article. The rest of the year, they're not going to draw more than 15,000 fans a game in that brand new ballpark. So Miami is a complete mess. Stanton's still not back. Remember, they gutted the team last year. So Miami just in a world of hurt. I mean, they have a brand new ballpark, and they're going to get like 18,000 fans the rest of the way. Not good at all. The Mets in fourth place, 14-21. They're starting to slide, the Mets. I mean, they got off to a decent start. They're starting to slide. No shock. The Mets don't have a lot of talent. They have Harvey, who looks like a solid pitcher. They got Wheeler in the minors. They got Neese, couple decent starters. They don't have much talent. Mets need a total rebuilding job. Number 3, the Phillies. They're 18-21. Tough schedule coming up for the Phillies. We're going to see what the Phillies are made of, if they're going to stay in this race or they're going to fall out of it. 18-21 right now with a tough stretch coming up. Remember, no Holiday. We don't know if and when he's coming back, and if he does, how he's going to pitch. Interesting stretch to keep an eye on for the Phillies, the next few weeks. Number 2 in this division, the Washington Nationals. They're 21-17. They're not scoring. Did put up a lot of runs against the Dodgers last night, but overall, Nationals not scoring. I thought they'd be better than this. Still early. They are 4 games over the 500. I expect the Nationals to be there in the end. And number 1 in the National League East, the Atlanta Braves. They're 22-16. Jay Upton just amazing this year with the home runs, on fire. Now, his brother B.J. Upton's been bad. We'd like to see him pick it up, but Jay Upton's been spectacular. Over to the National League Central we go. Last place, the Chicago Cubs. They are 16-22. They did lock up Rizzo long term. I think they signed him to like a 7-year contract. He looks like a nice young player. He can hit the long ball. Now they're going to remodel Wrigley Field. That's the way it looks like. So the Cubs need a total rebuilding job as well. A lot of work for Epstein to do here. They do lock up Rizzo yesterday with the long-term contract. Number 4, Milwaukee, 16-20. They've lost 9 of 10. The rotation is dead last in earned run average, and Milwaukee's been up and down. They were bad, then they were good. Now they've been real bad again. So Milwaukee, they got to pick up that earned run average, doing a lousy job with the starting pitching. Number 3, the Pittsburgh Pirates, 21-17. Playing better, and they have a soft schedule coming up. So it's a nice stretch for Pittsburgh. They can really get some things done right now. Number 2, Cincinnati. They're 22-16, pitching really well this year, surprisingly well. We know they can hit. I mean, they got Bruce, Votto, the list goes on and on. They're pitching well this year, so I like what I see from Cincinnati. And number 1 in the Central, the St. Louis Cardinals, 24-13. Pitching. St. Louis's staff has done as good a job as anyone in all of baseball. This is without Carpenter, who's going to miss the whole year. St. Louis starting pitching has been lights out. Cardinals doing a tremendous job. First place, 24-13. Over to your National League West we go. Dead last, the LA Dodgers, 15-22. Greinke will be back this week, although he gave up 8 runs in a rehab start, but put that aside, he will be back. That is good news for the Dodgers. Hopefully H. Ramirez will be back in a couple weeks. Dodgers need some good news. I mean, they are 15-22. Don Mattingly has to be on the hot seat. He is not going to survive too much longer if the Dodgers continue to play this badly. They are in last place right now, dead last in the National League West. Dodgers have to pick it up while Mattingly is gone. Number 4, San Diego. They are 16-21. They were playing well. Then they went to Tampa Bay and they got swept in Tampa Bay. I mean, to me, San Diego, I don't think they're a great team. They were playing decently for a while. I'd be surprised if they ever even got up to 500. I mean, so they do get swept by Tampa Bay over the weekend. We'll see how they play going forward. Number 3, Colorado. They're 20-18. I mean, they're 3-6 in their last 9. I mean, so they are starting to dip a little bit. Here's a stat for you. 2 games over the weekend, they played St. Louis. They went 50 batters over the span of 2 games, Colorado, without getting a hit. Think about that. 50 guys came up to the plate against St. Louis for Colorado in a 2-game span. 50 guys, not 1 hit. Think about that. Number 2, Arizona. They are 21-18. Corbin looks like a good pitcher. I like Goldschmidt. He hit his 10th home run last night. I like the manager. Arizona's got some parts to work with. Number 1, San Francisco, 23-15. How about Scudero? He's batting like 500 the last 2 weeks. We know the Giants can pitch. We know they got Posey, the Panda. Giants are a contender, make no mistake about it. That is your National League. As far as your American League, let's start in the American League East. Last place, number 5, Toronto Blue Jays, 15-24. They were 4-3 last week. For them, that's a good week. A lot of guys on the DL. Toronto has dug themselves a huge hole. They're 10 games out of first place. Toronto needs to really pick it up. They spent a lot of money in the offseason. Who knows when Reyes gets back. So far, Toronto, one of the biggest disappointments in all of baseball. Number 4, we have Tampa Bay. They are 19-18. They swept San Diego. I mean, the Rays are playing a little better. They need to pick up their hitting. We know Longoria can hit. He needs a little help. We know they can pitch. They play good defense, good manager. Need to pick up their hitting. Tampa Bay are playing a little better. Number 3, Boston, 22-16. They've started to slide. They've lost 8 of 10. They can't score lately, Boston. Overall, 22-16 is good, but they have been sliding, haven't been scoring any runs. Number 2, Baltimore Orioles. They're 23-15. Offense has been very good. Adam Jones, Davis, I mean, the list goes on and on. We know the manager is very good. Baltimore, back-to-back years, having nice seasons. I like what I see from the Birds. Number 1, the New York Yankees. They're 24-14. Rivera, 15-15 in saves. The guy never gets old. Yankees doing this without all their top guys in the lineup. No Teixeira, no Granderson, no Jeter, a million guys on the DL. You look up, the Yankees are in first place. I said before the season, everyone wrote them off. I said, don't ever write off the Yankees. I mean, they still have some good starters. Don't ever write them off. Here they are in first place. Over to your American League Central we go. Last place, the Chicago White Sox. They're 15-21. To me, they look like a bad team through 36 games. They don't look like a good team at all. Adam Dunn, I mean, he can't hit his weight. I mean, he can hit an occasional home run, but he's got no batting average. I mean, I don't like what I see at all from the White Sox. Number 4, Minnesota, 18-17. A lot better than last year. Very competitive this year, Minnesota. They were dreadful last year. A lot better this year. Now, are they a playoff team? No, but they are competitive. Number 3, the Kansas City Royals. They're 19-16. 1-6 in their last 7. 10-game road trip coming up. Keep an eye on Kansas City. They did get off to a good start against the Angels last night. Big 10-game road trip. We'll find out a lot about Kansas City the next 10 games. Number 2, the Cleveland Indians. They're 21-16. They're half a game out of first place. I mean, they're one more loss than the Tigers, but still. The Indians are 5 games over 500. Are you kidding me? How good of a job has Francona done? I mean, I never thought the Indians would be 5 games over 500 at any point this year, so tremendous job by Francona and the Indians. I hope the people in Cleveland come out to see this team. That's a beautiful ballpark. Go out there this summer and check out the Indians. I want to see that ballpark filled. Number 1, Detroit. To me, they're the class of this division. They're 21-15. I still think they win this division with Cabrera, Fielder, Verlander. To me, I don't see how they lose this division. Right now, they are a half a game up over Cleveland. Over to your American League West we go. Last place, the Houston Astros. They're 10-29. They're a horrible team. No shock here.
They have scored, listen to this, they have scored more runs than Washington, the Angels, and the Dodgers. What does that say about it, specifically the Angels and the Dodgers? I mean that the Astros have scored more runs than them. But still, going to be a long year for the Astros, 10-29. Number 4, the Angels, 14-24. They are on a 9-game homestand. Started off on a bad note. They lost to the Royals. Trout looks like he's found his stride, but still, I mean, the Angels look terrible. Can't pitch. When is Weaver coming back? I mean, I don't know if Scioscia's on the hot seat. I love Mike Scioscia. I think he's a great manager. I would never get rid of him. But, I mean, the Angels are 14-24. They're 10 games out of a playoff spot. I mean, 10 games out of first place, I should say. I mean, there's a long way to go, but they are playing lousy ball. Who would ever think it with this lineup? Hamilton, Pujols, Trout, Trumbo, you'd never think they'd be at 10 games under 500. We'll keep an eye on the Angels. We'll keep an eye on Mike Scioscia if he keeps his job. Number 3, the Seattle Mariners. They're 18-20, playing slightly better. They're inching their way up to 500. They can pitch, we know that. They have a beautiful ballpark. Can they get enough hitting? I say no, but they are playing slightly better. Number 2, the Oakland A's. They are 20-20. They've lost 8 of 11 after a hot start. Did get a much-needed win last night against Texas, but overall, lately, Oakland has been playing bad ball. We'll see if they pick it up. And number 1 in the West, the Texas Rangers. They are 24-14. They're 14-5 against their own division, so that's a very good stat. 14-5 against their rivals. Texas, even without Josh Hamilton getting it done, to me, they look like a playoff team. That's where you are very, very early in the Major League Baseball season. I mean, the season goes on till October, so we got a long, long way to go. All right, as far as tonight, what to watch on Tuesday, besides you got all your Major League Baseball, you know that. So you got your baseball, but you got your NHL and NBA playoffs. NHL tonight, we start round 2. We have Ottawa at Pittsburgh, game 1 in round 2. Should be a very interesting series. Ottawa basically has all their guys back healthy. Remember, Ottawa played shorthanded most of the year, had a ton of injuries. All their guys are basically back. A lot of bad blood with the Penguins, you know, because of the whole Cook incident, you know, with the whole, when the skate with Carlson and all that kind of stuff. Should be a lot of bad blood in this series. Should be a close, competitive series. I would assume Vokoun would start in net for Pittsburgh because you can't trust Fleury. Ottawa goaltending has been tremendous. Should be a tight series, low scoring, should be tremendous. Also tonight, San Jose at LA, so you have Northern California against Southern California, big rivalry there. Should be an interesting series as well. I would expect LA to get through this series, plus they have home ice, but San Jose looked pretty impressive in round 1 against Vancouver. That's your NHL tonight. Over to your NBA tonight. Very big night in the NBA. I would focus on the NBA tonight. You have game 4 tonight between the Knicks and Pacers in Indiana. Indiana is up 2-1. They win tonight. They're up 3-1. Have a commanding lead in the series. Knicks win. Knicks then have home court back. So this is a very big game for both teams. Very, very important game. We'll see if anyone else other than Carmelo Anthony can step up for the Knicks. We'll keep an eye on the Knicks' illness situation too. J.R. Smith sick. Martin sick. Shumpin was hurt. So we'll keep an eye on that. Very important game, especially for the Knicks. Knicks go down 3-1. They are in huge trouble. Crowd should be tremendous tonight in Indiana. Should be a fabulous game. By the way, how many days off have these teams had? I mean, the Knicks played game 2 last week in New York. They have played 2 games in a week. They have 4 days off to get to game 3. Now they've had 3 days off to get to game 4. The spacing has been terrible here in this series. Terrible job by the NBA. The late night game tonight, Golden State at San Antonio. This series is tied 2-2. Very nice series. Golden State had the better of the play the first 2 games in San Antonio. San Antonio did manage to get the split there. San Antonio actually carried much of the play in Golden State for the 2 games. But Golden State did pull out that overtime game in Game 4. They rallied to win. This is a very intriguing series. I still favor San Antonio because they have home court. But Golden State has showed me a lot in these playoffs. I love what Curry's doing. I love what Thompson's doing. I mean, I love Bogart's getting in the act. Lee's trying hard playing. Lee has a torn hip flexor, yet he's out there giving you all he has. I love the job Mark Jackson's done. So Golden State's done a really nice job. I would expect San Antonio to get through this series, though, but it won't be easy. So tonight, tremendous night in the NBA. Knicks, Indiana, Game 4. Golden State, San Antonio, Game 5. Plus, you got your NHL, Ottawa, Pittsburgh, Game 1. San Jose, LA, Game 1. And you always have your Major League Baseball. So this is a nice sports night tonight. You guys, thanks for the support. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe. Enjoy the games tonight. I would focus in on the NBA tonight. I will be back with you guys tomorrow, Wednesday, and we'll recap everything that went on tonight. You guys enjoy the games tonight. Talk to you tomorrow, Wednesday. Take care.